Most people mistake approval for safety and safety for respect. They learn early that being liked reduces friction and social punishment. So they soften tone, explain intentions, and trim sharp edges. This strategy works briefly, especially in calm cooperative environments. But pressure reveals a different psychological equation beneath politeness. Here is the quiet truth most people never consciously face. Respect does not grow from warmth. It grows from perceived consequence. The nervous system scans for threat, not friendliness, when ranking authority. Your body understands this before your mind can rationalize it. You feel it when certain people enter a room. They speak slower, reveal less, and occupy space without apology. They are not cruel, loud, or emotionally demanding. They simply do not negotiate their position through approval. That absence creates tension, and tension commands attention. Most people run from this tension immediately. They joke, explain, or accommodate to release discomfort. Relief feels good, so the behavior repeats automatically. Over time, the nervous system associates approval with emotional safety. This conditioning becomes an identity, not just a habit. You start managing reactions instead of shaping outcomes. You anticipate discomfort and preemptively lower your presence. People feel this adjustment even if they cannot explain it. They sense you are optimizing for acceptance, not consequence. Psychologically, this signals a lack of leverage. Leverage requires the possibility of loss, not constant reassurance. When you remove uncertainty, you remove perceived power. Predictability feels safe, but it rarely earns lasting respect. Machiavelli understood this long before modern psychology named it. People follow strength when outcomes feel unclear and costly. They dismiss softness when nothing seems at stake. This is not moral judgment. It is behavioral response. Most approval seeking is not kindness. It is self-protection. It is the fear response disguised as social intelligence. The mind calls it being good, but the body feels small. You trade short-term comfort for long-term invisibility. Respect operates on a different currency entirely. It responds to boundaries, restraint, and emotional independence. Not coldness, but the refusal to over-explain existence. Not aggression, but the ability to withstand disapproval calmly. This is where many people feel internal resistance. They confuse respect with cruelty, dominance, or hostility. That belief keeps them safely liked and quietly overlooked. Psychology reframes this as conflict avoidance conditioning. From childhood, approval meant survival within social structures. That pattern does not disappear with age or success. It simply becomes more sophisticated and harder to notice. You call it professionalism, empathy, or being reasonable. But underneath, the same mechanism still operates. You adjust yourself to reduce the chance of rejection. Others feel this adjustment as negotiability. Negotiability lowers perceived status without a single insult spoken. The cost is subtle but accumulative over time. Your opinions carry less weight under pressure. Your presence invites interruption, correction, and casual dismissal. None of this feels dramatic, which makes it dangerous. The real loss is internal before it becomes social. You stop trusting your own tension tolerance. You equate discomfort with danger instead of opportunity. This quietly shrinks your behavioral range. Here is the realization most people never articulate. Being liked feels good, but it signals low consequence. Respect feels heavier because it includes risk. If this feels uncomfortable, that response is important information. It means the pattern is already active inside you. Once approval becomes your compass, behavior starts shrinking quietly. You speak less directly, choosing words that offend nobody. You explain decisions prematurely to avoid imagined resistance. You soften boundaries before anyone actually challenges them. This pattern feels rational, even mature, on the surface. Psychology calls it anticipatory compliance under social threat. The brain predicts discomfort and edits behavior in advance. This saves emotional energy short-term, but costs leverage later. People around you adapt to what you tolerate. They learn how much pressure you can absorb. They test limits subtly, then adjust expectations downward. Nothing malicious, just efficient social calibration. You notice it during interruptions, dismissive tones, delayed responses. Not dramatic disrespect, just casual disregard under mild stress. Your nervous system registers it before your pride reacts. A small contraction happens inside your chest. Most people respond by increasing likability. They become more helpful, more agreeable, more available. This feels proactive, but it deepens the imbalance. You are rewarding boundary violations with emotional labor. Here is the psychological mechanism operating beneath awareness. Status is inferred from what someone is willing to lose. If you signal fear of disapproval, loss seems unbearable. That makes your position feel negotiable. Respect requires the opposite signal entirely. It suggests you can withstand friction without collapse. Not hostility, but emotional self-containment under pressure. People read this as strength without conscious analysis. This is why silence often carries more weight than explanation. Silence forces others to feel uncertainty themselves. Uncertainty increases perceived risk in social interaction. Risk demands caution, and caution becomes respect. Approval-seeking removes that uncertainty completely. You clarify intentions before anyone doubts them. You defend choices before anyone questions them. You resolve tension before it tests you. The nervous system of others relaxes around you. Relaxation feels pleasant, but it lowers alertness. Lower alertness reduces perceived consequence. That is why relaxed environments rarely produce authority. This does not mean becoming distant or cruel. It means tolerating discomfort without immediate repair attempts. It means letting silence exist without rushing to soothe. It means allowing misunderstanding to persist briefly. Most people cannot tolerate this pause internally. They experience it as anxiety, not neutrality. So they move, speak, or explain to escape it. The escape feels relieving, reinforcing the habit. Over time, this creates a behavioral ceiling. You stop occupying full psychological space. Your presence becomes easy to manage. Managed presence rarely commands respect. The loss here is not external status alone. It is the erosion of internal authority. You stop trusting restraint as a viable option. You rely on agreement instead of self-grounding. Common culture praises likability as social intelligence. Psychology reveals it often masks fear conditioning. Being pleasant becomes a shield, not a choice. Choice disappears when behavior is fear-driven. Respect begins where fear tolerance increases. Not fear of violence, but fear of disapproval. The ability to remain steady when liked less. That steadiness changes how others position themselves. This shift feels subtle at first. Conversations slow slightly. People choose words more carefully around you. They sense boundaries without seeing them enforced. This is not dominance, it is containment. Contained energy creates gravity without motion. Gravity changes behavior without explanation. Here is the quiet realization to sit with. If approval feels necessary, leverage is already gone. The next step is understanding how restraint rebuilds authority. Restraint is misunderstood because it feels inactive from the outside. Internally, restraint demands constant regulation and emotional discipline. The impulse to explain rises first, then urgency follows immediately. Most people mistake that urgency for honesty or transparency. Psychology identifies this impulse as tension discharge behavior. The body seeks release when uncertainty threatens social belonging. Words become the fastest available release mechanism. Relief follows, teaching the brain this response works. But every release leaks information about priorities and fear thresholds. Others learn what unsettles you by watching what you rush to correct. They do not analyze this consciously. Their nervous systems adjust automatically. This is how authority erodes without conflict or confrontation. You explain to feel safe, not to shape outcomes. Safety becomes the hidden goal behind communication. Outcomes quietly become secondary. Restraint reverses this process slowly and deliberately. It keeps tension contained instead of expelled. Containment preserves uncertainty in the interaction. Uncertainty creates psychological weight. People respond differently when weight enters the room. They slow down, choose language carefully, and observe more closely. This shift is subtle but consistent across environments. Meetings, relationships, negotiations all follow this pattern. Most people never practice this long enough to see results. The discomfort feels unnatural at first. Silence feels like exposure instead of stability. The body demands relief through speech. This is where leverage is rebuilt internally. You learn that discomfort does not equal danger. You experience tension without immediate negative consequence. Confidence grows from this repeated evidence. The common belief says clarity prevents misunderstanding. Psychology shows clarity can remove useful ambiguity. Ambiguity keeps others attentive and respectful. Respect requires attention, not reassurance. Restraint is not withholding truth indefinitely. It is timing truth according to leverage. Timing determines how information is received. Poor timing neutralizes even accurate statements. This is why calm authority often speaks last. They allow dynamics to surface before intervening. Observation precedes action in high-control individuals. Action without observation is usually defensive. You notice this difference in experienced leaders. They rarely rush to correct impressions. They let silence do preliminary work. Only then do they speak with precision. Precision feels heavier because it arrives without urgency. Urgency signals dependence on outcome. Dependence lowers perceived strength immediately. Strength appears when outcome attachment feels low. This does not mean indifference or emotional distance. It means emotional regulation under social pressure. Regulation communicates self-trust without verbal confirmation. Self-trust invites others to recalibrate behavior. The loss avoided here is not rejection alone. It is the loss of internal stability under observation. Restraint trains stability through repetition. Stability becomes visible without performance. People begin responding to you differently. They pause before challenging or dismissing you. They seek cues instead of assuming access. This shift feels quiet but unmistakable. Here is the realization that changes behavior permanently. You do not need to be liked to be respected. You need to be steady when likability fluctuates. What follows next is learning when restraint must end. Restraint alone is not the destination. It is the foundation that makes action effective. Without it, action leaks urgency and emotional dependency. With it, action carries consequence and weight. Many people stop at silence and mistake it for power. Silence without structure becomes avoidance over time. Avoidance feels safe, but it does not command respect. Respect requires selective presence, not disappearance. The psychological skill here is calibrated expression. You choose when to speak based on leverage, not emotion. You enter conversations already regulated and grounded. Your words arrive measured, not reactive. This is where true authority becomes visible. Not constant restraint, but controlled release. Release timed after observation shifts dynamics immediately. People feel the difference without knowing why. Common belief says consistency builds trust and respect. Psychology shows predictability reduces perceived consequence. Strategic unpredictability increases attention and caution. Caution is the soil where respect grows. This does not mean being erratic or manipulative. It means not volunteering access to your internal state. Your reactions are earned, not automatic. Earning reactions changes how people behave around you. You notice conversations becoming more deliberate. People wait for your response instead of filling space. They read your pauses instead of ignoring them. Your presence gains gravity without added effort. The leverage here is subtle but powerful. You are no longer managing impressions constantly. You are shaping environments through emotional control. Control removes the need for performance. Most people chase respect by adding more expression, more confidence signals, more certainty, more explanation. Psychology shows subtraction creates more impact. Less reaction, fewer words, slower timing. This approach costs something important. You will not be universally liked anymore. Some people feel unsettled by your restraint. Others interpret it as distance or coldness. That discomfort is the price of authority. Approval and respect rarely coexist under pressure. Choosing one quietly excludes the other. This choice determines your long-term position. The internal shift matters more than external response. You stop monitoring reactions compulsively. You tolerate misinterpretation without immediate correction. This restores internal hierarchy within yourself. Self-respect strengthens before social respect follows. That order is not optional. People respond to internal alignment before verbal signals. Alignment cannot be faked consistently. Over time, this changes how you move socially. You enter rooms without preparing emotional defenses. You speak when it matters, not when anxious. Anxiety loses influence over behavior. This is the brutal rule Machiavelli understood clearly. Power respects restraint, not eagerness. Authority answers to consequence, not popularity. Those unwilling to risk dislike remain manageable. Here is the final realization to carry forward. Being liked feels comfortable, but it keeps you visible. Being respected feels heavier, but it keeps you untouchable. If this perspective shifted how you see your behavior, take a moment to acknowledge that recognition. Awareness is the first form of leverage. If you want to explore these dynamics deeper, support the channel by liking this video and continue watching for more psychological authority principles.